Hello, everyone, and welcome to the office hours here on the ViaMonstra Academy, the first one for the brand new year 2024. Very excited, and very excited to have you back, Andrew, as well. Thanks for joining.
Oh, very happy to be back. I'm glad to see that you held down the fort though while I was gone.
I tried my best, but there is something missing, isn't it?
The intro.
Oh, yes, coming up right now, sir. All right, welcome back, and here we are, the very first episode in 2024.
Can't believe it. Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, 2023, just boom, gone.
Exactly. It doesn't feel like that long ago we were doing the first one of 2023, but as you said, here we are.
There we are. So, you've been entertaining yourself, been on vacation for a good few days.
Been trying. I was fortunate enough to escape to Hawaii for about a week and a half. So that was not the worst thing that I could have done over over winter break.
It wasn't too terrible, you're saying?
No, not too bad. I took the 80 degrees sunny every day and just enjoyed every minute of it that I could. I suspect you guys had a great break as well, though it wasn't in Hawaii. Hopefully, you had the opportunity to relax and recharge a little bit.
One can hope.
Exactly. So I did still manage to pick up a few pieces of news, though.
Oh, yeah?
From earlier today. Well, from the last couple of weeks. But if you'd like to share my screen for a few minutes, I can share
I
those.
do.
All right. So the first one I came across here was on the Patch My PC blog. Ronick wrote a blog post on the restart grace period in Intune. Really helpful stuff here because there are so many different configurations or so many different settings rather that are available to us when it comes to mandatory restarts and grace periods and don't restart when we're doing this and restart no matter what at this time. This setting can be a little bit confusing. So I'll just I don't want to spoil all the details here in the blog post, but put simply, as he says here in the post, it's sort of like hitting a snooze button on the mandatory restart. In the example that he uses in the blog post here is for applications. So when you're installing a Win32 app, for example, you'll have some applications that may need to have a reboot, and you can use that restart grace period to say, hold on, let our users pause that mandatory restart for a set amount of time. And then eventually, your users, after being able to pause it a little bit for whatever time you set, in his blog post he uses an hour as an example, eventually they will have to reboot their computer. But this helps give our users a nice warning that says, hey, we're going to have to reboot your computer in a little bit. If now is not convenient, we're warning you. Go ahead and wrap up whatever it is you're doing. But here pretty soon we are going to have to reboot. And you can see a couple of examples of those notifications that you might receive when eventually you will get to the computer is going to restart in 10 minutes, let's say. And you won't be able to stop it at that point. So great blog post here. Again, we get questions about the grace period in our Intune courses. So I thought that this was a great post to share. For those of you doing bulk enrollment using provisioning packages, James Vincent wrote a blog post and a script that builds upon Michael Niehaus's blog post from last year or 2 years ago. on generating a bulk enrollment provisioning package with the script. So his Michael script builds the XML file on its own, and James was working on a script that will take a provisioning package and add the necessary pieces to it. So some good stuff here. Another alternative method to create those packages if that's something that you're working with. And last but not least, I did come across a post that was actually a little bit before the holidays here from Brad Wyatt. And the more and more we use Azure AD or Entra ID applications in order to authenticate to MS Graph, let's say, automate things, script things. The more we use those, the more we have to track the secrets and certificates and that sort of thing associated with those applications so that our automations or our scripts don't break. Well, Brad's got a nice blog post here on how you can automate alerts for applications whose secrets are expiring. And this is using Azure Automation so that we can do some serverless automation here, and then either alert through an email and or alert through Teams. So a really nice step-by-step guide on how to do that. Brad, I've come across many of his articles over the last several years and always does a great job of doing like a step-by-step explanation on how to configure these things. So if this is something that you're working on, I would recommend taking a look at this because monitoring these things are important. If you're not working on this yet, I suspect that you will be sooner rather than later if you haven't worked with some of these applications. So, yeah, those were the few things that I was able to come across in my travels here.
All right, I did stumble across a new blog post from today, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here real quick. I'll find the right button. I will do that.
Sounds good.
Many things to click on. All right, so this one adds here. Yours goes away for the moment. But Michael Niehaus put together a top 10 list of his most read or most viewed or most popular blog posts over the years. So quite exciting, not too surprisingly. A lot of them are related to Windows Autopilot, but there are some other good things as well.
I like number 7 there, digging into hybrid Azure AD join. See a theme here?
Yeah, we were actually chatting earlier today in the team chat, and he was joking about having to support this scenario for so long and probably longer still. But
Sure.
yeah, that was funny. So highly recommend to view that one. And then, of course, for those of you who may not have noticed, but I have been somewhat busy or been keeping myself busy on our sister channel, the YouTube channel for deployment research. So every day starting with December 25, I've been recording a short video on and given ConfigMgr topic, and I am up on episode 10 for tonight. It's going to be recorded well after this when we're done here. But these are short snippets, usually 5 to 15 minutes long, give or take. But if you haven't watched them, I highly recommend doing so. And please, feedback, always appreciated. Or if there are any specific topics that you really would like me to cover, I'll be happy to try to do that as well. We still have 2 more episodes left after tonight. We're doing our 12 days of Christmas. That's why I'm so dressed up so festive. Been trying to have a new Christmas shirt every day, and luckily I had 12 of them. So,
Yep.
good right
A few
there.
left over from last year.
Yeah, trying to do 25 days in a row. That was a little bit over the top. So 12 days was much more manageable. So
Good deal. They've been great so far.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Now, the big question is, have we any questions coming in?
We do, and we also have some greetings and Happy New Year's from several people. So thank you and Happy New Year to all of you as well. Great stuff. Thank you for joining us in this first episode of 2024. So then we have a question from Michael over on YouTube. I'm creating ConfigMgr boot media using password and expiration date. My issue is that I need to display the expiration date to the technician, maybe using VG-info or some other means. I think I have the task sequence variable that contains the expiration date, but the value isn't human readable. Do you know how I can decipher it?
Not from the top of my head, but if the media is readable in some sort of format that can be decoded, it can definitely be written back to the background info screen. Forgot which one of the production episodes I did for ConfigMas this year, but I was showcasing how to leverage background info to write information to the screen. So I can actually show that script. Let's see. Here we are. So if I go into my ConfigMan environment and pick up one of the prod sequences I was demonstrating this week. And I have to be on the right ConfigMan server also.
Because as most people have, half a dozen of them, of course.
As you do. But long story short here, I have a PowerShell script I was using to basically show information on the background, in this case, the computer name. And since BG-info itself doesn't understand the task sequence environment, I simply wrote it into a registry value, and I had BG-info read that registry value. So that custom BG-info thing object was reading that information. So if you can come up with a script that writes it down to a registry value, BG-info can definitely pick it up. I don't have a ready-made example for getting the expiration date out of a bootable media, but we may be able to figure something out there.
Yeah, do you know which variable that was stored under? Or if you don't, maybe Michael, you could share.
I mean, I did create a media earlier today. Let's see. If I have a simple sequence we can use, maybe. So when you create a standalone media, that's when you have the option to set an expiration. If I do an unlimited size and media.iso, a good name as any. Don't need a password for this one, but I can specify that it's going to be valid to, I don't know, January 22nd next year. Maybe this year. February 7, how about that?
Sounds perfect.
Pick one of my sequences. This one will do just fine, I think. Wait until it refreshes the package list. I don't need any other content. Need to add a DP, create it from, and then we can boot it up and we can enumerate what variables that are available, unless you got a reply back in the chat there. And by the way, the wizard is totally lying. It says it's done. It's not done. It will run for a good few more minutes more after it says it's done.
Oh, and unfortunately, Michael is driving at the moment, so no way to look that up.
All right, we can see if we can find something. We can let this run in the background, and we can continue on with some other questions and see what we can find.
Yeah, sounds great. So Francois is asking over on YouTube a question for compliance policies in Intune. When a computer is non-compliant for a rule that contains several parameters, it used to be possible to see which parameter is at fault. Has this view been removed, or have I forgotten where to look?
I don't remember seeing any change to the view. Anything you stumble across there?
Nope. I'm clicking around a little bit right now to see if I can find anything here. Yeah, that one's not going to work. And this tenant, I don't have any compliance policies assigned right now, but I think. Do you have a compliance policy assigned to anything, Johan, in maybe your test tenant or something?
I don't know. Maybe.
Because I think I don't know if this is exactly what he's looking for, but
Well, I have to log into the right tenant. That was the wrong tenant. Dang it.
of course you must
What
have
can
as
go
many.
wrong in a live demo?
Of course, you must have as many admin accounts as you do ConfigMgr sites.
No, I actually have more Intune sites. I have 17 now. So
Well, it's pretty easy to just sign up for one of those.
yeah, I blame you, by the way, for having that many.
I'll accept that.
So where do you want me to go?
Then if you go to compliance policies and just click on one of those policies maybe, and then that per setting status, that might give well, some of it. That's still a little bit more broad than individual parameters.
I don't remember if the report had any more details.
Oh, if you go to the report itself.
But no. Doesn't look like it.
Yeah, so he said normally it goes to the device and then a compliance rules applied to that device. But yeah, when I go there too, you don't.
It could be that there had been some change in this view. I just don't remember on the top of my head if there was one.
Same. Oh, you know what? Actually, could you go to?
I clicked the account or the devices.
So double click on one of the devices that actually has it assigned.
I can't click anything here.
So when I went to the device view itself, so if you go to your devices, and then one of the Windows devices that actually had that policy applied.
This one here.
And then device compliance. Now if you double click that default the ViaMonstra default compliance policy.
Yeah, I get a little bit more details, but not so much.
What about on your custom one?
Let's see. No.
Just firewall and antivirus.
Yeah. No, not. I don't see the individual settings.
Okay, nope, that's what I was looking for. That view. So it is interesting that you have to double click on the compliance policy because it's not obvious that you can do that.
No, Not at all.
So, interesting UI decision.
Yeah. If anyone happened to know if there have been some changes recently to this view, by all means, let us know in the chat, and we'll be happy to share the information.
All right. At any rate, it looks like that's what he was looking for. So
Yeah.
that's good stuff.
Yeah. In the meantime, my media actually finished here.
Oh, nice.
So can go ahead and for those of you just joined us, got a question earlier about the variable for the expiry date on the media, if that one can be used to something creative, like showing the technician that the USB stick or the standalone media is about to expire in, X number of days. But I don't remember that variable from the top of my head, but I figure we can take a look. It's not that hard to boot up a device and check.
Hey, we're kicking off the year with a bang. Live demos, live troubleshooting, live research.
That's how we do it.
Love it.
So anyway, I have a test VM here. I'm just gonna mount it on that ISO that I copied over, with the standalone media that I copied over. So this one here, boot it up. See if it decides to behave. I don't think I'm out of resources just yet. I think it's cutting it close. I still have a few megs left available. I hate when Hyper-V does this. All right, let me try again. Didn't give me a chance to actually click it, so.
Yeah.
All right, here we have the media. If I click next, it will load the sequence variables that are available. Might have them accessible at this point, thinking of it. We can take a look. Open up the command prompt. Healthy dose of PowerShell. Fortunately, we don't have ICE in WinP, but we do have Notepad. That goes a long way. So if I go to here, troubleshooting, I have a little PowerShell script that enumerates all the variables. I'm going to borrow that one, paste it into Notepad. At least it's quicker than typing.
That's right.
num.ps1. Save it on my X drive. And of course, you saved it as text. Lovely. All right.
Surely not the first time you've not changed that to all files.
May have happened.
I know it's happened to me many times.
Yeah, all right. Let's see if we can run that script. No, I have seen it happen a lot when you're doing this in this phase. It cannot create that object.
But then ends up working later on.
Yes. Wonder if the VB script approach might be a better luck. Let's see. Otherwise, we have to start the sequence and take a look later. It's always fun with live troubleshooting. It's technically the same command, but it's done through a VB script instead. No, it didn't like that one. Let's go ahead and kick off the sequence and see if we have any better luck. So now it's running the sequence. Try to run the same script again. That gives me all the variables. I will just pipe into a text file. Now I have a text file. Date, time, expiry, something. No. Looks like almost like a Unix timestamp or something. Doesn't it?
It does. Let's see here. 453721408. That gives me January 25th, 2016. 453721408.
No, that was not what I put in.
Definitely not. But what is that? 3. What's the first number? The second number definitely looks more like Unix.
It's not a documented variable either, it looks like. Maybe the log file can provide some info. And that was helpful.
Media is not expired. Okay.
Says the media value is valid, media is not expired, media started is valid. But it doesn't tell me what the actual value is. No.
Interesting.
No, I do not know on top of my head on how to convert that value. I have to do some research on that one. It was not at least obviously available in either the log file or the variable itself.
Yeah, I'm trying to find something too, and not coming up with anything at the moment, but that's pretty clever though if you can get that converted.
Yeah. At least I can save the log file up to the server or the resulting variable.
Mm-hmm.
Something might come out of it. And also my result. We can look at that later. This is live troubleshooting.
That's right.
So here was the expire value. These guys here. See what a bit of a Google search gives me. Nope. Not much. All right, I think we'll have to do some research on that one. So nothing that pops out on out of the ordinary here.
No, but at least it seems like the live research is helpful. Michael said he did in a few minutes what took days, so thank you so much for looking into this.
You're welcome. I wonder if there is any other things being stamped into the file system. Sometimes they do that, like a tag file or something like that.
I'm even just playing around with some calculators just to see if it's seconds to minutes or minutes to hours, or it's not, by the way. So, at least I haven't found anything so far, but
Yeah, it's funny when you search for that variable on Google, you find no results whatsoever.
yeah.
You figured someone have tried to decode it by now. Where did it go? This one here. Gonna do a little bit of a GitHub code search. They are usually quite creative. Nope.
Nothing. Wow.
Okay. Someone did a memory scan of it.
Yeah, exactly. It's more than zero results, I guess.
But I bet you there is a function or something in this executable that decodes it.
Yeah.
If we can check that file.
Weren't you just talking about that file recently? I swear
That's the command line tool to create media. If you don't like PowerShell, you can use that one.
Yeah.
All right, research later.
Mm-hmm. Great stuff, though. All right. We did get another question over here on YouTube. In MDT, I'm getting a blank wizard.hta window before the first restart while still in PE. Closing this window, it will restart and lose its connection to the deployment share. Out-of-box drivers are up to date, but a retry works most of the time. Could this still be a network driver loading problem?
I'm trying to find that question in the list. Okay, I found it. Most time when you get a blank wizard screen, it's because it was able to connect, but it doesn't have permission. So the wizard load, but it's just completely blank. Because MDT maps a network drive up to the deployment share. And if I create a new deployment share in MDT, demo one, the default permissions on this one is downright stupid. Because by default, it's only admins that will have access to the share itself, as well as to the file system. And you may be able to connect to it, but you can't enumerate any content. So just open up a command prompt, F8, get a command prompt, try to see if you can do a listing of the drive letter that is mapped. If that one gives you an access denied, that's why the wizard is empty. I've seen it so many times when someone creates a new deployment share and don't relax the permissions for it. I did post a while ago yeah, 8 years ago, 9 years ago now. But with a little bit of PowerShell, you can provide better permissions for a fresh deployment share. So I can share this link in the chat as well, but that's usually what happens when there is a blank wizard showing up. It's permissions on the deployment share itself.
All right. Kurt had a question here on YouTube. Are Intune security baselines being phased out? Are they less effective in reporting in comparison to the settings catalog? I believe they were updated by Microsoft in May of 2023. So I haven't come across anything that says they're being phased out, but there has been feedback over the last couple of years here and there that they leave a little bit to be desired because of the speed in which they are updated. So it really depends on what you need to use in your organization, because you can deploy most of those settings through the settings catalog. I've seen a couple of recommendations. Our friend Jürgen put together a settings catalog version back in the spring of last year, so maybe almost a year ago. If you want to go the settings catalog route, I've seen recommendations to take the GPO for like CIS benchmarks or the newer security baselines where GPOs exist and importing them into Intune. That's another thing. Really all depends on what you need for your organization. I find that those security baselines are a good foundation, but as Kurt points out here, since they're not updated as frequently as the GPO versions or the CIS benchmarks, if you're using those, or any of the other benchmarks that you may be using, that can be a little bit of a challenge. But I have not, to answer the first question, I have not heard of those being phased out in any way. Have you come across any news about that, Johan?
Well, sir, I have not.
And I do know I had some discussions at MMS Miami. I know that feedback is making it up to the team, that those should be, at least us as admins would hope that they are being updated more frequently in Intune specifically. So, Kurt, I hope that answers the question. Maybe not the exact answer you were hoping for, but that's kind of where that stands at the moment. Did have a follow up about that expiration from Martin Sorensen. What about getting the date from the certificate? That should be what's expired when the media is not valid. So that might be another.
Like the self-signed cert. That was.
I believe so. So there's one that's generated every time you generate new media, right? And eventually it will expire.
That's an interesting thought. It's actually a great thought. You do have access to the certificate store even in WinPE. Because I'm using that to install certificates.
Mm-hmm.
We can come up with some clever out of that one. Always fun.
Do you have anything up right now that you were wanting to share, or are you just
poking
around?
I can try. Always fun to do live debugging. This is the script I'm using to import the certificate. In WinPE. Might be able to borrow some of this over. Do something clever with it. What was the command to run cert util? Because I know that one works in WinPE also.
Mm.
I'm gonna need a cert store name also. Here. We set these guys. Nope. Nothing there. Not sure if it installs any certificate into the machine or if I'm asking the store in the wrong way. I have not tested this in WinPE before.
Do you want to try Martin posted just the get child item for the cert PS drive. Will that work in WinPE?
I don't think that one exists.
Let's see if I got anything up.
I think that was the reason I did it this way. I had to open it first. Now I had the certs. But I don't see anything related to ConfigMgr here. I do not. Unless it's one of the Microsoft ones. Not sure we can get any more details. No, there is none that expires in anything like late that I can find. Might have to figure out how to decode that value rather than anything else.
Yep. It'll be a fun
It was
one.
worth a try. Thank you
Definitely.
for the idea, though. Great. And I accidentally learned how to read certificates in WinPE also. Not just create them.
Hey, you never know when you might need that.
I never know.
All right, we had a couple more questions come in. Mir's asking over on YouTube, have you guys had any luck getting a useful report from Windows Feature Update Report in Intune? We've been deploying Windows 11 to our devices. Almost all of them still show their status as in progress in that report, even though they've been successfully upgraded weeks ago. I'd say personally for me, in my experience, I'm using the Windows Update for Business reports and log analytics to track that type of thing, rather than the built-in reports. Because again, as you're saying, I think they do leave a little bit to be desired. Johan, any recommendations from you on how to track that in Intune? Or is that what you would be using as well, something with log analytics?
I don't know. I was trying to multitask here at the same time. Not very successful.
That'll happen.
No. All right. I'm giving up on that one.
I'm just going to see if I can pull up the Windows Update for Business reports here to see if I've got anything useful at the moment. So what happens when you don't look at your lab for 2 weeks? I haven't done that in a long time.
Can I share your screen?
You can. I don't know if I have anything useful to share yet, but yeah. So here, I'll just at least show for if you're since you just shared, I was talking about Windows Update for Business reports. Go to Health Software Updates in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. You can click the Go to Windows Update for Business reports. We'll get over here. Take a moment to load. And then we click on the Feature Updates tab. And here you'll see the number of devices. We'll see how many devices we have nearing end of support. So those are, I have some 21H2, Windows 10 21H2 devices. But then down here you'll see progress for the targeted version and how many are at that targeted version. I have at or above, it looks like, because I've got one that says it's targeted Windows 10, and anyways, that's a sidebar. Regardless, I have better luck going this route in terms of reporting within Intune. We did talk a little bit a couple of weeks ago, and I believe it also showed up on your summary blog post, Johan, about the technical takeoff. There was a session on how they're improving reporting in native Intune. So we might be able to sit tight and get some, that report may improve as well. But for now, this would be my recommendation. I've had a lot of luck with this solution so far. All right. Matt is asking, Johan, will these last 3 or 4 sessions cover the production OSD? I think referring to ConfigMas.
No, I did 3 sessions already for like the key things that you need to do for production. Some error handling, some logging, some background info, some branding there, drivers and BIOS configurations, and I wasn't planning on adding more to that series. What I have up for today is how to create, deploy, and run ConfigMgr applications for PowerShell. So I was working on that earlier today. So if you have anything specific in mind, there are still 2 more episodes that are more or less unplanned. So I'll take ideas.
All right. Great comment from Richard over here on LinkedIn, and timely considering we've got both MMS 2024 and MMS Flamingo Edition in October. Both are now open for registration. But just a shout out to the community from Richard here. I was at MMS Miami in 2023 and on vacation the week before. My team was working with Microsoft on a SQL performance issue for 2 weeks. When I returned, joined a call and suggested a change mentioned in 2 of the MMS sessions to resolve SQL performance issues on the ConfigMgr database. The Microsoft techs made the change and instantly the issue was resolved. So an excellent example for going to MMS, as he says.
I agree. Could not agree more. And both MMSs for this year are up live. So
Yep.
Fort Lauderdale in the fall and Minneapolis in late April, May.
Absolutely. It's like having multiple Christmases for us.
Yeah, indeed.
So thank you for sharing, Richard. That's amazing. That's one of my favorite things about the conference as well. Hearing those stories of somebody coming back with real actionable things that they can do, and they see, in your case, you fixed an issue right away when you returned, or just improvements or simplification of an infrastructure or something. Love hearing those stories. Thank you for sharing. I see. Does Kylo have a MMS story he'd like to share?
I'm not sure. There are no coyotes, at least today. It was one of the ConfigMas. There were a few coyotes outside walking by our backyard. He was not pleased at all.
Yes. I wouldn't imagine.
No. You're probably gonna tease me for not figuring out that timestamp format.
Oh, Kylo.
Yeah. Sir, can I continue to do my job? Would that be possible?
He says, I'm hungry, though.
Oh, this 120-pound puppy is not hungry. He's well fed.
That is true.
All right. Do we have any other questions?
I'm not seeing anything new. Just making sure that I didn't miss anything. I did miss Dean popping in here and waving. Hello, Dean. If you're
Hi
still
there.
here. And yeah, so some more comments about the live debugging and troubleshooting. Good stuff there. That's how you know. So many people love reality shows. That's how you know we have basically an unscripted reality show here.
Indeed.
But I'm not seeing anything else at the moment.
Well, we still have 2 more minutes, so if anyone have questions,
We're still here.
still here. All right, I don't see any more questions. Thank you so much for joining, everyone, and we wish you a happy and prosperous 2024. See you next week. Bye for now.
Well said. Thank you for joining, everybody. Have a great one.